So one of the first steps to developing a really great set of slides is setting up your Keynote or PowerPoint for design. And so there's a few things you can do, and these are things that even in your own industry and business that you can apply to creating some good clean slides. So one thing is you want to set your rulers to be visible inside of Keynote. So you're going to go up to View in Keynote and then select Show Rulers. And you also want to make sure that your guides are on. So mine are on. I'll show you what yours look like. They will say Show Guides. You want to click there and show your guides. So guides are these little lines. See, they're blue and it's right in the center of the slide. And then guides also show up, for instance, when I get to a certain point on the slide, or when I get to the middle of my slide or the bottom third. And so guides help me see where things are placed on this grid, this ruler. All right. Something else that you want to do to ensure that you can see your whole slide is you want to go down here to the bottom of the slide where you see this 100% and this up and down arrow, and you want to select Fit in Window. You can also select a size, so you have 75%, 50%, 100%. It's better to look at your slide at a smaller size, just as if you were working with, photo editing software like Photoshop. You want to look at the image smaller so that you could really manipulate and work with it more clearly. One other thing you want to do is make sure to turn on your presenter notes so that you can see not only your slide, but also the ideas you want to convey. So you can write stuff down here. For instance, you could say, don't forget to begin with punch, just to remind yourself to develop that part of the presentation. And so I want to introduce you to the most important tool inside of Keynote, and that is your inspector. It's right here. It looks like a little eye. You can control pretty much anything on a Keynote slide through the inspector. Your first tab is the document tab, and from here you can determine whether or not you want audio playing in your slideshow, whether or not you want your slideshow to be self-playing, and for your transitions to last a certain amount of time. For instance, in the final presentation in the course, you'll actually be creating a slideshow where you have to set your timings to 20 seconds per slide. And so, in addition to making big changes like the size of the slide, you can also move on to the next tab, which is the slide tab, and from here you can select a transition type, and you can determine whether you want the slides to go automatically or on click, and you can also change things like the layout of the slide or the background color of the slide. The next tab is your Build tab, and this has to do with animation. So if you want to use something subtle to have an element enter into a slide, for instance, text, you can go into the Build menu and have that element come in. You can even determine whether that element comes in on click or automatically. The Text tab is where you can change the color of your text, the placement of the text, the spacing of the letters between the letters, the spacing of the line. You can also determine whether or not you have columns in here. The Graphic and Metrics tabs have to do with shapes and with boxes. So let's say I want to put a color fill on this box. I would go into the Graphic tab and select Color Fill. This is also where I might add a shadow to a box or to a piece of text. The Table tab refers to tables. The Hyperlink tab allows you to add a hyperlink to a website or a video to a slide, and the QuickTime tab allows you to actually add videos and then determine how long of the video you want to display to your audience. So these are some tools you can use to help you set up your slides for design. As always, you can contact your instructor if you have questions about using Keynote. There's also a similar tool in PowerPoint called the toolbox that has very similar features.